some examples of what's gonna happen here. Either way, we're gonna go from left to right here, starting with Charlie, because he is this game's main character. So about Charlie, what can I explain in general that for people that do not know him? Well, might as well get into the game first. Let me just so I'm gonna have to enter and exit because I'm gonna have to explain all of these skills. But I'll keep these for now, the 4 I have here. But you know what? Let's do this by order. We're gonna go like this. Tornado and Student Pursuit. Actually, no. You know what? I'll leave the. This is the buff skill. We'll leave the buff skill for last because there's a good reason for me leaving that one for last. So we're not gonna move from this mission very forward. Obviously, I'm not even gonna do it. I'm just gonna be in the part where no enemies are around, and that will show some things. So as you can see, we have Charlie here, and I hope there's no... yep, we're gonna have to wait for her to shut the hell up. Yeah. So, I guess I could show you some of the basic attacks. So, this is his basic life string. This is me just pressing one button, which is perfectly fine. Here's the 1 light, 1 heavy. Not gonna use this that many. 2 light, 1 heavy, which is not half bad, but it's not. It's a fine 2 light, 1 heavy. 3 light, 1 heavy. You really don't need to know a lot. This is not used a lot. And 4 light. Now this one is actually good, and I really should use it more personally. This. I really should use it more on multiplayer because that's actually pretty good and does a good amount of damage. Now, the thing with multiplayer is you have to be warned of an influence. Don't mind that. You have to be mindful of an influence in multiplayer, which is there might be lag. Like, as much as I don't want to say it, you might have lag. Yeah, that was the wrong one. But in basic, because of that, some basic attacks sometimes are a little hard to do. Also, blocking is important, people. Block in multiplayer. You literally need this. This is like 101 multiplayer gameplay. Block. For the love of God, block. You will get massacred if you don't block. Now, also in the air, he has this. You can do 2 slashes and then a downward dive, which is fine. You can kind of easily do this with him. I'm not gonna explain that. Now, he has quite a few abilities. Obviously, a character has 7 abilities. So he first has this Pseudo Night Charge. As you can see, it's kind of a wave he puts forward. He has Tornado. Eruption. And finally, Pseudo Night Circle. Or out of the abilities I brought with me. So, what can I say about these abilities specifically? Oh, by the way, I will give my overall feeling of the character at the end of explaining these. So, I will try to give you a recommendation in terms of the skills and his playstyle by the end. Either way, so Pseudo Night Charge, this is an actually pretty fine and solid skill. It's not the most damaging skill in the game, definitely not, but it's perfectly fine, can clear waves pretty fine as well, and it's just a pretty solid skill. It doesn't have a huge area around, but the forward is not bad at all. Don't mind Medusa. Don't mind the Medusa appearing. It's a solid skill. It's one of the skills I'd say you can use it. Like, if you don't like one of the other skills, you can use this. Now, Tornado. Tornado is very high damage. This thing hurts like crazy. But the problem is, it's kind of like a sniper shot almost, because the projectile is very thin, and basically it's kind of like a shot. It has a good range, but it's not that far. The best way of using it is if you're close to an opponent and this hits twice. That first time, and then the projectile hits as well. Because if you hit the first one and they're not blocking, the second one will hit. Point done. Now, but if you do that, it deals a lot of damage. But otherwise, it's really hard to hit. Now, I do like this ability, and I do recommend it. But if you really don't like... it's not as easy to use as it is to use charge. I'd say it's more of a high risk, high reward type of ability. Because you kind of need to be close. But it doesn't give you a lot of drive. Charge probably is better at giving you drive than Tornado will be. Also, Tornado has a longer cooldown. So, there's a few reasons. If you don't want to use Tornado, you can use Charge. But it still hurts like crazy. It's probably his most damaging skill. Then you have Eruption. This thing is great. This ability, again, like Tornado, can hit twice if you're close range. But the best part of this ability is not so much that it does quite a bit of damage, don't take me wrong, but the point is, this thing is AoE like crazy. Like, that is amazing AoE. That is a very good AoE. And this clears minions like crazy and gives you drive like crazy. The point of this skill is more, it gives you a lot of drive. But if it hits people, it also hits pretty well. Now, the weakness of this ability in Tornado is kind of one and the same, or not exact, have one common weakness, which is, if you have noticed, if you don't hit the first one, you're kind of like stuck in this animation for a bit. If you didn't notice already. But that is a risk that's fine to do with Eruption. And Eruption is kind of the one ability I'd say you can use it, even if you're not, even if you don't hit anyone, if you're away from people, just use Eruption to clear minions and get drive. Either way, and then you have Circle. So Circles is interesting, right? You see the animation, it's pretty long and it's all around you. But this skill is really nice for him. Here's the reason. So, once you activate this ability, people will get hit stunned by those things. This area will keep hit stunning until it does the damage. No matter what. Okay? It is a really nice skill already on that department. Also does good damage. But you know what's even better? After you do this, if someone gets caught, yep, you basically can catch them with another skill and basically combo. So you can, example, and this is usually what you would do, not with charge, but you circle, grab someone, Eruption right on top of them, they're dead. Yeah, they're pretty much, if they're not dead, they are almost dead. That's why you use it. Now, obviously, the problem is, if they don't get caught by circle, just any projectile will take you out of this, because you can't block while that's going on at all. Obviously. But, like, the positives outweigh the negatives, so... Okay, that was wrong ability. As you can see, I'm trying to block and stuff, but you can't do it while that thing's going on. Either way, it is affected by attack speed. I'm just gonna show, nonetheless, every ability so they're faster, as you can see. Which can kinda nullify this. And in multiplayer there are code casts, and attack speed code cast can nullify a lot of the slowness of these abilities, so you don't need to worry too much about it. Okay, with that, let's return to the base camp so I can show you the rest of his skills. Again, this is gonna be a little bit of a... takes a little while because I gotta go back to grab the other skills to then put it on him. Because they didn't think exactly on putting a practice mode in this game. To just, you know, test this character's skills. Like, seriously, couldn't they just put a practice mode where you could literally change the skills inside the thing? Either way, I'm gonna bring Pseudo Knight, Lumiere, and obviously a Stolfo Spear. Plus I'll bring Circle, I guess, just to... why not? Now, I've shown you all of those skills, and all of those skills are great and very handy and nice, right? What if I tell you none of those skills are his best skill? Like, literally. What if I tell you he has one better skill than those? Also, I'm just gonna... something. Best of those guys. Because that annoys the hell out of me, and it completely breaks my line of thought. Yep. This is literally the best map to just test out stuff, by the way. So... Tamamo, yes, I know. So, I'm gonna now show you his other two skills. First, you have Astolfo Spear. So this is a stun, which is actually not that bad, and it's actually pretty fast, as you saw. But we'll get to it when we get to it. Lumiere du Soleil. That's it. And then you have Pseudo Knight Pursuit. So this affects your basics, by the way. See? You just start shooting those things. It does not affect abilities though, as you can see. It only affects your basics, does not affect your abilities. So, as you see, the swords don't move. But nonetheless, you'll see what I... Either way, let's start explaining the actual skills. So, Astolfo's Spear is actually a perfectly fine stun. This is pretty fast. It's not very long range, but it's pretty fast, and it's around him. So, it is a perfectly fine stun to just, like, chain from one of your basic attacks. Now, the thing is, stuns are kind of hard to hit, so, I mean, you'd need a lot of practice, but, you know, we have a friend who can hit, like, Jean stuns. I'm pretty sure you can hit this. Like, literally. I'm not the best one to explain stunning in this game, because I'm not the best at using them. But if you can get good at using stuns, you could get a lot done with this. Because this is actually a pretty good stun. But I recommend it to you if you know what you're doing with it. If you don't, I'd recommend other abilities. Either way, Lumiere du Soleil. This skill is what I'm gonna call the as a problem, which is the erudite problem. This skill will only hit your opponent. This skill does a ton of damage. However, this thing will only ever hit if you stun someone. I mean, literally, you can attack speed this thing, which I will do once it's out of cooldown, but I'm activating attack speed. This thing, even with attack speed, will only hit if you ever stun. They can block. There is no... You can't go from a basic attack into that and hope to hit. It's not gonna happen. The only thing you can realistically do to hit this is stun to this and do a ton of damage. That's the only thing you can actually do. Now, do I recommend the skill? Hell to the hell no. Not only is it not very good range, it is a high cooldown ability, low range, yes, high damage. You can't clear effectively and get good drive with it. There are just so many things that you really shouldn't do with this skill. So no, I don't recommend it. And finally, his buff skill. So, I'm just gonna give you the first. Everyone gives you the same tip every time, no matter who you play in multiplayer. Grab the buff skill. If the character has a buff skill, you use it. Because they are all strong. But Charlie's is especially strong. Now, as I said, this only affects your basic attacks, right? Well, it still gives you hit stun against drive, by the way. That's the point of strengthening abilities. They give you hit stun against drive, even if you are not on drive, on your abilities. And I think also on your basic attacks. But why is his, as I said, special? Now, as I said, this only... See those swords that fly? What if I tell you that these swords that fly each have its own separate amount of damage from his damage? Because they do. And if these swords hit an opponent, and they will, usually, if you can target it very well, they will hit. You can do a full chain against... Okay, this is now against someone that's not on drive. Let's just say it. That they are not on drive and you're not on drive. You grab them. You catch them with one attack, okay? And you keep the combo going. What if I tell you that after this full chain, they die if they don't heal. Does that sound good to you? Because that's what this does. Literally, you can just spam one button outside of drive and you will kill them in one chain. And if you're on drive, oh boy, you only need like 2 or 3 of these and you got it, you win. Also, I probably should explain how important drive is in this game. So, drive is basically your super mode. You don't want to use immediately your skill. You kind of want to use your drive to the most of your time. And then drive skill at the end. Sometimes. Sometimes. Not always. Not everyone. You don't want to do that with everyone. At all. But, like, you should... As I said, though, drive is very important in this game as it's kind of your superhuman mode, where you're kind of at an advantage at that point against your opponents. No matter what you do, you have an advantage in damage reduction, and just about everything. You can by people that are not on drive, you can only be hit stun if they have strengthening, and like if they have a strengthening buff, or they have one of these red coat casts. But even then, if they have the red code cast, they have to use a skill to basically hit stun you. By the way, if they have the red code cast. If they have both, well, they can hit stun you with basics. Well, that's a different story altogether. But as you can see, drive is kind of like very powerful, as you can easily kill a lot of people with it. Now, Charlie's drive is deadly because of this buff skill. Because 2 or 3 basic attacks and you're dead. Like, I'm not even joking. 2 to 3 basic attacks, you die with this. If he has his buff on. However, Charlie does have one big problem when he's in drive. Which is, well, this. His drive skill, which is this. Not only is it extremely slow, as you can kind of notice, you're not immune. You can be taken out of it very easily. You will be taken out of it very easily. You also are very show-offy, and it's very obvious that you're doing your drive skill. So basically my point is, if you play Charlie, never ever drive skill. And I mean never drive skill with him. Okay, maybe not never. 99% of the time, do not drive skill. The 1% you should drive skill is if you're transitioning from one sector to another. Someone is transitioning from one sector to another, you can pre-fire this to catch them while they're, you know, going through sectors. And then appear on yours and get shot by a drive skill. Because drive skills will one-shot people if they're not on drive. Oh yeah, if they're on drive, they don't. But if they are not on drive, they will die. Just a warning, they will. Also, then I have not explained the NPs. NPs can one-shot if you have Supreme Strike. By the way, people on drive. They will one-shot people on drive if you have Supreme Strike, which is an install skill. But I'm getting too far ahead of myself here. Either way, so after showing these abilities, I'm now gonna show you what in my opinion are the best skill set right now. I think that's probably for the best. I'm gonna show you what I personally think is his best skill set. Now, here's the thing. I will give you the recommendations. I think that's better. Yeah, I'll give you the recommendations. So, in terms of active skills, you should pick Pursuit. Pseudo Knight Pursuit is his buff skill and it's too strong to not use. Like, this literally is godlike. This is the one ability I'm gonna say you really should use on him no matter what. Then you have choices. This is the one I recommend you use every time. Lumière du Soleil is a skill I recommend you don't touch. Now, you can use it, as I said, because he does have a stun. But I do not recommend you using this, ever. But, again, your choice. I'm just recommending it. Now, I also recommend you take Eruption. mainly for the clearing drive to the drive gain of the skill is pretty good. It's also got really good damage, it's got a decent cooldown. It's just pretty nice all around in general. Just a really nice ability all around. Now, here point, it's the choices you can make. So, the rest of the 4 skills you got, you can technically make work with them. Personally speaking, and this is me, the usual skills I use are like this, with Eruption, Tornado, and Circle, and Pursuit. However, you can, as I said before, you can switch Tornado for Charge. And technically, while I do like Circle a lot, I can see the negative. If you don't like Circle, you can do Stolfo Spear. I would still recommend you bring, like, Circle over Stolfo Spear. But again, if you can make the stun work, you can make the stun work. At that point, you might want to bring something like this, if you don't want to bring Circle. But again, these are personal recommendations of his skills. Either way, this is what I like the most. As much as I say. But, oh well. So, now I guess it's time for me to, talk about install skills. I think this is a good time for this part. Now, in multiplayer, some of these install skills are not here. So I will... This doesn't exist, that does not exist. I'm gonna put to you here, like, what would be the... Usually, for the majority of the characters, the semi-optimal, I guess, build, which is 5 red to 3 yellows. So, in multiplayer, you always want to have mana recovery and independent action. Reduced nerf, I like it a lot, but you could technically live without it. And these 5 reds specifically. So Clairvoyance, Martial Blessing, and Spirit Slayer, definitely, always. Supreme Strike, almost always as well, because this is for your NP. Now the red, the extra red, it's at your choice. Realistically, the extra red, you can choose whatever. Because I prefer Natural Body, but you could technically go Monster Strength and other things. But, oh well. This went from an explanation on Charlie to an explanation on install skills. Great. I'm doing this really well and very professionally, I think. I'm being sarcastic, obviously. Very sarcastic. Either way, what do we got for him? So how good is Charlie? I think that's the big question we got for our man here. Charlie is very strong. He's got pretty solid abilities with pretty good range on some of them. He has a good stun. He has a really strong buff skill. And his basic attacks all flow well and they're pretty fast. So there's no problem there either. His aerial attacks are not the greatest, but yeah, that's fine. You don't really need to with him go on the air because any characters with dash, that kind of a spike type of dash forward in a down forward dash attack are not the greatest in the air usually. He's okay. It's just again. And then his biggest problem, obviously, is his drive skill, which is one of the worst in the game. Because, again, you're not immune, it lasts forever, and it's super obvious when he's doing it. Like, it is extremely obvious he's doing his drive skill. So, how good is he? If I had to tier him from, think of it like this, we have tier D, C, B, A, and S. We have these 5 tiers. So S being, goddamn, these guys are broken, and D is kind of like these guys. We have a problem. He would be around B to A. He's around there. He's, I'd say A, bottom of A, but top of B. It's around here. I'd say bottom of A though, because his buff skill just literally gives him so much. Like, that, the point of it is, he can kill you in 2 hits. from basic attacks. It is ridiculous how good that can be. And I think that's all the details I have on him. I guess besides that, it's like, how do you play Charlie would be the most like... Charlie's does not have a, I'd say, a sad playstyle. He'd be like more of a... I guess I can show you some tricks. I think that's probably what I can do in this case. I think that's the last thing I'll do with the build I have. Or at least show as much as I can of him. I've already got 40 minutes. I've just started with this character, explaining this character. Oh boy. So, what usually you want to do, for example, at the start of a match, is activate your buff skill, Eruption, as fast as you can. After that, try to basically see how the match goes, staying on the point, obviously. Think of it like there's a point around here. Actually, instead of this, I think I know what I have to do. I guess I'll go into an AI match and I'll just show you. I'll go not into Rome because Rome has that annoying initial spot. Give me a minute. Just go select the stage. This could take a bit. I'm sorry about this part. Create a room. Okay. So I guess I'll show you in a mini match, quote unquote mini match. Charlie. Okay, he even has the skills I like to use, so that's perfect. His preset is actually pretty good. He's one of the few presets that's like actually very accurate. We're going to get which one's the best one? I guess that Metropolitan will be the best one to show. Okay, it's this off. So how you kind of want to start off a game. Sometimes, warning, this does not happen every time. Sometimes you want to start off the game by doing this, other times you don't. So again, it's dependent on situation. Against what I'm facing here, for example, you can kind of do this. You're fine to do this. But if you're facing a Tamamo, no matter what you do not activate Eruption first. Ever. Either way, this is what you should do. Activate the buff, Eruption. If you catch someone in circle, as you see, then Tornado. I did that wrong, but in general that's what you want to do. If you catch someone with circle, you want to... something like this. Push! Now I'm waiting for someone to appear. As I said, with his buff skill, he's kind of ridiculous. You can see. Now I'm gonna show you what you do with circle. If my AI stops interfering. There you go. That's what you do. You catch them with circle. As you see, his damage is not as high if he doesn't have his buff skill, but it doesn't matter. God damn it. You wanna go, do circle, dash once, and then catch them with the others. Either Eruption or Tornado, it doesn't matter. With whichever skill you got. And that's in general how you play Charlie. Also, if you're on drive, here's how fast I can kill people. Look at that damage. Yeah, on drive is ridiculously strong. Let's wait a little. I just kind of want to show up some more. Because look at that. The sword hit and dealt 7,000 damage. That's how ridiculous his buff skill is. Like, that's 7,700 damage, which is technically half HP. And circle into Tornado will kill, by the way, if they don't heal. Well, that is about all I can explain about Charlie. I guess I will finish this match with him, but Like, you can do some really bullshit stuff just generally with him. He's very... Look at that. I told you, you can kill with literally just 5 basic chain while not on drive. That's how good this buff skill is. It is ridiculous how good this buff skill is. You gotta hit the swords though. The swords do have a little bit of a hitbox. Also, you can go from eruption into circle, by the way, as well. If you have attack speed. So, there's another trick. You can go from... Not only can you go from circle into other things, you can go from them into circle as well. I'm pretty sure though you cannot go from tornado into eruption though. Cannot do that. Tornado into eruption is not a thing, and eruption into tornado is also not a thing. So you gotta use circle for these. Okay. And that's me blocking for once in this game. There we go. Told you. You get on drive, he's kind of bullshit. On drive, Charlie is scary as hell. Outside of drive, he's still a threat. It's like... The only thing is, as I said, just don't use his drive skill, and you are a very solid character. There are... And you'd think, hey, he's very strong. He's kind of broken, isn't he? There's worse. There's a lot worse than him. Like, at least it's only his basic attacks that will kill. Because the basic attacks, you still have to catch people with them. You actually have to be able to catch people. His weakness is mainly like, you do need to like work a little harder than other people to catch, to like do your big damage. You have to work a little bit harder with Charlie to get your big damage. Even then it's not that big, much more work, but it's still more work than you have to do with other characters. So for now, I'd say he's in a low A tier out of a tier from D to S. So Charlie, you get an A. Low A, but A nonetheless. Now we're going to the next character. We got Nero. Yeah, we're gonna have some Saber explanations here. Oh right, there is one more thing I have to explain about Charlie. I forgot. Charlie has one more thing. He has an inbuilt passive defense. So he passively takes less damage than the normal servant. Okay? Just take that into account. Which means sometimes you will not be hit stun out of abilities with other abilities because of this freaking defense. Basically, Charlie has a little bit of super armor also. So yeah, more bullshit for him. Now we're done. He is definitely A. He is definitely an A.